But we're going to talk about the pros and the cons of Ditto. It is a challenging aspect of the electronic music industry where it's popular to use other people's music, but you have to be very careful or you're going to get in serious legal trouble. What's up, music meeples? My name is Kendra, and in the game of music marketing, strategy is everything. Let's get into it. Today, we are talking about the music distribution platform, Ditto. This is a really unique platform. I really like it, but we're going to talk about the pros and the cons of Ditto to see if it's actually a good fit for you. Make sure you stick around to the end because we're going to talk about one person that had a terrible experience with Ditto, and I don't want you to end up in that same situation. Let's get into it. Let's start with the good things about Ditto, the pros. So, number one, unlimited releases. Ditto offers an annual plan that lets you release as many tracks as you would like. This is amazing. It's different than CD Baby, for example, where you have to pay per release. If you are going to be releasing music frequently, then go with Ditto because it is going to let you do as much as you want, which is fantastic. Number two, Ditto does provide distribution to a wide range of platforms. Now, Ditto is unique in that, yes, it goes to, Spotify, Amazon Music, all of these different just music streaming platforms, but also it is going to provide options like Beatport for people to actually purchase your tracks and incorporate them into their own DJing and electronic dance mixes. So kind of a neat feature here. Number three, pre-save links. You are able to create pre-save links. So if you already have a fan base, you can send out your upcoming music, you can announce it, and you can give them a pre-save link so that they can find your music right away on release day. Another pro is they do offer chart registration. This is an additional fee at checkout, so be aware of that. But if you want to be on the Billboard charts, you can do that with Ditto. It's really neat. You can just kind of check that box, pay, I think, $30 for just the US, and then it'll put you on those charts and you can see how you are ranking compared to the other professionals in your industry. Number five, Ditto does offer publishing administration services. So that comes down to a lot of the different copyright things that you're going to come into, especially if you're in the electronic dance mix industry. They do have some administrative services that can help you really sort out those details, all the paperwork involved. Number six thing that is great about Ditto is that they do have detailed analytics. So you can really see how your track is performing across all the different platforms. You can see which tracks are doing well so that that can inform your music and you can create more of what people are really listening to. And number seven pro is it is affordable, that you are going to pay the annual plan to distribute your music, but you do get to keep 100% of your royalties. This is different than some of the other platforms where you don't pay an annual fee, but they take a sort of commission, a percentage administrative fee of say 9%. This you get to keep 100%. Another pro of Ditto distribution is they do have 24/7 customer support. So if you're working late in the night and you have a quick question, you can kind of type it in. This is AI, so it's not like the best customer support. They do have actual people that work there as well, but the 24/7 service is still, I would say, a pro. And then the number nine thing that is great about Ditto is they do have a lot of additional services when it comes to licensing. For example, they have sync licensing. If you want your music to be used in a commercial or a Netflix show, they actually offer sync licensing directly within Ditto, so you won't necessarily have to go over to ASCAP. That gets a little complicated, but for the most part, no, you can initiate the process here, which is great. Okay, let's talk about the negatives. Okay, the bad things about Ditto. When it comes to creating music, so often we collaborate with others and we need to split the revenue with others. Ditto does not have an automatic splits feature similar to how DistroKid does. So if you are doing music all by yourself, you're not working with other people, you're fine. You don't have to worry about it. But if you are collaborating a lot with other artists, or if you are working with a label or a manager that is going to get a specific percentage of your royalties, you're gonna have to do it manually. It's not gonna automatically do the splits for you. So that's the number one con of Ditto. And number two is customer service. How can it be both pro and the con? Well, as I mentioned before, yes, it's 24/7, but it's an AI chatbot. If you have a detailed problem that you really need help with, it's hard to get an actual person. And so that's definitely a con. Now, number 3 is interesting because I did some research and a lot of people felt like the user interface they didn't really like, but I actually love Ditto's interface. It's very clean cut, very simple. I really like that it is really breaking things down into 2 different categories. Most distribution platforms are going to have release an album or release a track. Ditto actually does separate. It's like release a traditional track, or it asks if it's an electronic dance mix, and that's really neat. I loved seeing that that's really the audience that they're catering to, but there are quite a few reviews online that say that people don't like the interface, so you might not either. And the number 4 con is that overall, Ditto is just much simpler. There aren't going to be as many advanced features, for example, for splits or for labels. They do have marketing tools and other things that they say they offer, but basically across the board, Ditto is a much more bare bones service than compared to TuneCore or DistroKid, which have just been in the game a lot longer and have developed more advanced features into their service. Okay, now here's the tricky thing that you really need to know before you use Ditto. Specifically, if you are doing electronic dance mixes, if you are wanting to create a derivative work, meaning you are incorporating other people's music, you need to get the proper licensing. If not, you can get in big trouble. There are multiple stories online of people who wanted to use other tracks, did not get the proper licensing, and got in big trouble. Hefty fines, big issues. Now, the most basic thing that's going to happen to you is your track's just going to be rejected. You know, that's the better option here. But if you somehow get your song out there into the world and you are using it, you're performing it without paying the correct royalties, you can be fined considerably and you can get in big legal trouble. We need to avoid that. So let's talk a little bit about how to do that. Now, within Ditto, they do have some options for sync licensing, but for the most part, you are going to need to get a license from the original musician and their label. First, you need to get a master use license. That means you can use their recording. It's not that you are recreating the music on your own. There's a difference between a master use and a cover song. If you are creating your own version of a song you didn't write, that would be a cover license. If you are actually taking the track that was mastered and you are putting it into your song, you need to get a master use license. If you are planning to create a video of any kind that includes then pieces of that track, you also need to get a sync license for that song. And if you plan to distribute it physically out in the world, you also need to get a mechanical license. So here's all this to say. In Ditto, they do a pretty nice job of really going over copyright checkboxes with you, but you need to be careful if you are trying to incorporate other people's music into your own original or your own derivative electronic dance music. Take your time, don't get in trouble with the law, don't steal other people's work. It is a challenging aspect of the electronic music industry where it's popular to use other people's music, but you have to be very careful or you're gonna get in serious legal trouble.